Stupid. No special things about queries in GIS, other than like other database systems, is that you can do spatial queries, right? Because it's all got all the spatial information there. So you can say select all the things that are close to this other thing, or select all the things that are in this other thing, right? But when they talk about SQL queries, SQL queries, that's exactly the same for every other database that you'll encounter. So like, you're kind of learning like an important database skill right now, which is like not obviously GIS, but like it's how I learned it, and then it just turns out that it's applicable to all the other database stuff that you need to know. So I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it. I mean, let's just go into how to do these things, right? There's two main ways I would do an attribute query, right? And the attribute query is just on the table like of information. So if we open the capitals table here, an attribute query will select some of these things based on some criteria, right? And we did this the other day as well. So just to show you very specifically, there's two ways where I would kick one of these off. One is I would open the table, and then I would click on that little button there, and I would say select by attributes, and then I would write a query in the box. And this is what, when we do the exercise, this is what we'll do. And say, the standard way to do it is, you're going to create a new selection, but you don't have to just do that. And let's say I wanted to just find one capital, typically, or all the capitals in a state. Typically the way I do it is just double click on the thing that I want to start a query with, and then right away I hit get unique values, and that tells me here's all of the things that are in that field that you could query. And then you can say, all right, well, the name equals something, Augusta, and then just apply, right? And that just picks the ones that are named Augusta. You can you could have typed this all in, right? Like if I did name equals and then single quote, capital A, AUG, USTA maybe, end quote, and I got it right. But like the point is, you have tools that help you write those things because they're not easy to get right on just typing them out. So the Boolean operators in the quiz are all of these things, and it's the same thing that Google uses to search for things. So when you say like, when you want to search for something, like, I don't know, a computer and ice cream, right? Like you could search that into Google, and since you wrote ice cream, or since you wrote, so if I did computers and ice cream, it'll find things that have computers and ice cream in them. But like it was like an invention in like the 60s or 70s, whatever, to like have it do that. So it comes down to like how you can interact with a computer, and this is like the only way, apparently. So let's see, computer named ice cream flavors, right? It got both those things, right? But the same thing. If I just did, and this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Like let's say I want to search for Augusta and it's fine with Montpelier, right? I want to select both of those things from. Let's do states because it'll select more than just two things. Let's say I want to select all the states, all the capitals from Maine and Vermont. So I can go in and I can say, and this is where it gets a little funny. You have to write both statements and then join them with an and in the middle. So I would say state equals get unique values, and then it's just the abbreviation. So I would do VT, there's Vermont, and then I would say and I would click on the button, and then again state equals ME, apply. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, because of course they can't equal both at the same time, right? So that's a great example. I do this all the time, and then I realize my mistake and I fix it all the time, right? what is wrong here? Does anybody know? So this is not going to work, right? What I want to select is all the capitals that are in Vermont and or Maine. No, that's a good guess. It's a correct. It's a what?
The or instead of and.
Yes, exactly. Right. So if I change this to or, because it's like logically, right? A capital can't be in Maine and Vermont, right? It has to be in Maine or Vermont, which is why you have the and the or. And it's funny that really does make up most situations you're going to get into. Is like, it always comes down to like, wait, is that an and or an or? You know, and I've just been there a lot. It's just funny. So, oh well, in the end, it did select just two things because there's only one capital per state, right? Of course. If I was thinking that if it was just cities, all right, so here, let's do the same thing with cities. So one thing I do a lot is, you know, you go back in and it saved your query. So I'm going to just copy that and go into cities and do it here. Do the same thing because you see that field's named the same. So right now we got 16. So that's every city in those two states now is selected. And in capitals it was just 2 because there's only one capital in each state. And you can see, you know, yeah, there's not too many cities, right? But like if I turn off the capitals, then there's those cities left. And then if I just turn on the capitals, then you can see just the capitals are selected for those two states. So that's just text, right? The other way to do this is, I think we did this a little bit before as well, is using these other operators, right? So let's look at the operators first. So we have equals, which we talked about. We have greater than, right? Just from math, right? Same thing. Less than. And then you have not equal to, right? So like you could say, if I did, let's state not equal to Arizona, it'll pick everything but the stuff in Arizona, right? So then if I do a switch selection, it'll go to just the things in Arizona. Did you catch that? Like, so there's like a lot of like ways to manipulate this. And one of the cool things is like, the book reminded me actually that this is like the most basic GIS analysis type thing to do, because it's like you're getting answers that you can't get other places, right? Because of course, if I just close this and I go to the map, it's all, oh, that wasn't, all right, here we go. So where am I? Arizona. Did I do, oh, Arkansas. Jeez, not Arizona, Arkansas. So Arkansas, all the cities are there. And then the thing is, what I can do is I can say like selection, create a layer from my selected features. And then if I was making a map, I now have those points to start with to do like some other kind of map, right? So I can take a huge set of data and say select all the ones that are in this state and then create a layer from that. And then I can do analysis from that, which is like, because sometimes it's overwhelming when you have a big, huge set of data and you don't know how to get to only the things that you want. So the other way to use selections would be if you wanted to just export that data out to a new layer like we did. So you could say, let's do another one with a number. So if I said, all right, how many places with 5 to 17-year-olds with greater than, let's see what the unique values are. So that's the most. All right, where are the places with greater than 5,000? And for a number, I can just type it in instead of putting the quotes around it. And that's important to remember. That'll trip you up every time. So with stuff that's like greater than or less than, it's with numbers. And numbers don't need quotes around them, which I remember that tripping me up. So I've selected all of the places, the cities where there are a lot of 5 to 17-year-olds. Like imagine you're a company and you want to sell PlayStation 4s or whatever, and this was your target market, right? This is a pretty important set of cities. The reason it turned off, it has a zoom scale set, so I can just... Where the heck do I set that? It's been a while. Oh, wow. Did I forget how to do a zoom scale? Here we go. So it's saying don't show it when you're out beyond 6 million, 1 to 6 million, but I'm just going to turn it off. And now it shows up. I'll tell you why you might not want to do that someday. So let's say I wanted to do an analysis on these cities, right? These are the cities with the most young people. And I showed you before you can do selection, create layer from them. But you could also just, you go to data and then go to export data and export that as a brand new shapefile or geodatabase. And in this class we use geodatabases. So if I was going to go in and where do I want to put this? Well, actually, let's just make a new database, right? So this little button here, we can make a new file geodatabase. Remember, when you make it, you want to name it intelligently right away. Whenever you make one in this, you won't see it until you switch to geodatabases, and then you can see it. And then you can rename it. And so we'll just say cities with young people. And now it's a completely new layer. Like they asked me, do you want to add this to your map? And sure, I'll add it. And the difference between that and this one is that this one's saved in the MXD. So if you close your MXD, you won't be able to get it anywhere. But this one's actually in a database. So not really a query lesson, but like that's kind of what you do with queries.